There's a dangerous moment in a person's life when loneliness stops feeling temporary and starts becoming part of their identity. The moment you begin to believe you are unwanted, unseen, disconnected from everyone around you. And for many people, that kind of pain becomes destructive. It turns into anger, bitterness, isolation, or self-hatred. But in Naruto Uzumaki represents something powerful. The idea that loneliness can either destroy you or become the fuel that transforms you. When Naruto was a child, he wasn't just alone. He was rejected, ignored, judged before people even knew him. The villagers looked at him with fear and disgust because of the nine-tailed fox sealed inside him. Imagine growing up in an environment where people avoid eye contact with you, whisper behind your back, and treat your existence like a burden. Psychologically, that kind of childhood shapes a person deeply. Human beings are wired for connection. We develop our sense of identity partly through how others respond to us. So when a child experiences constant rejection, the mind begins to form dangerous beliefs. I'm not lovable. I don't matter. There's something wrong with me. And this is where Naruto's story becomes psychologically fascinating. Because instead of collapsing under those beliefs, he reacts in the opposite way. He becomes loud, energetic, attention-seeking, always trying to make people notice him. On the surface it looks comedic, but underneath it is emotional survival. Naruto isn't acting out because he's naturally annoying. He's trying to fill the emptiness created by isolation. He would rather be hated than invisible. And a lot of people can relate to that more than they realize. Sometimes people don't chase attention because they're confident. They chase it because silence feels painful. Because being ignored reminds them of deeper wounds. Naruto's behavior reflects something very real. Loneliness often creates compensation patterns. Some people become loud, others become overly successful, others hide behind humor, others shut down emotionally. Different reactions, same wound. But Naruto's loneliness doesn't just shape his personality, it shapes his mindset. Because when you grow up without support, you develop one of two mentalities. Either you believe the world owes you something, or you become determined to prove that your pain will not define you. Naruto chooses the second path. That choice changes everything. Instead of allowing rejection to turn him cold, he transforms it into motivation. He trains harder. He dreams bigger. He refuses to give up even when nobody believes in him. And psychologically, this is the moment where pain becomes fuel. Now that sounds inspiring, but it's important to understand something deeper here. Pain itself is not automatically useful. Suffering alone does not make people stronger. In fact, for many people, pain becomes destructive because they never process it correctly. They internalize it. They let it define their identity. They begin to believe they are broken because of what happened to them. Naruto avoids this trap because he maintains hope. That's his real power. Not the Nine Tails, not Rasengan, not shadow clones. Hope. The belief that things can change. The belief that he can create bonds despite his past. The belief that his loneliness is not permanent. And psychologically, hope is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. When people lose hope, they stop trying, they stop growing, they emotionally disconnect from life itself. But when hope exists, even suffering becomes survivable, because the mind believes there is something beyond the pain. This is why Naruto never truly gives in to hatred, even when he has every reason to. Now compare Naruto to characters like Gaara. Gaara also experienced loneliness, rejection, and fear from others. But unlike Naruto, Gaara internalized the pain differently. He embraced hatred. He believed that love did not exist for him, and because of that belief, loneliness became destruction. This contrast is one of the greatest psychological lessons in anime. Two people can experience similar pain and become completely different individuals based on the meaning they assign to that pain. Naruto's loneliness teaches him empathy. Gaara's loneliness teaches him cruelty. Naruto seeks connection. Gaara rejects it. And this is something every person must understand in their own life. Your suffering does not automatically determine your future. Your interpretation of suffering does. Naruto could have become bitter. He could have hated the village. He could have isolated himself emotionally and decided that the world deserved his anger. But instead, he develops one of the strongest emotional abilities a person can have: the ability to understand pain without becoming consumed by it. And that's why Naruto changes people. Because he doesn't just fight enemies physically, he reaches the emotional wounds inside them. He sees himself in broken people. In Gaara, in Nagato, in Obito Uchiha. He understands them because he knows what isolation feels like. But unlike them, he chose not to surrender to despair. That's emotional alchemy, turning pain into wisdom instead of poison. And this is where the personal development lesson becomes real. A lot of people are carrying loneliness right now. Maybe not physical loneliness, but emotional loneliness. Feeling misunderstood, feeling disconnected, feeling like nobody truly sees who they are. And over time, that pain can quietly reshape your mindset. It can make you cynical, defensive, emotionally numb. You stop trusting people. You stop opening up. You convince yourself that needing connection is weakness. But Naruto's story challenges that belief completely. Because Naruto never stops seeking connection. Even after rejection, betrayal, and pain, he still believes in bonds. And that takes incredible strength. People often think strength means becoming emotionally untouchable. But Naruto teaches the opposite. Real strength is remaining open-hearted in a world that tried to close you. That's far harder. And this is why his dream of becoming Hokage matters psychologically. It's not just about status or leadership. Naruto wants acknowledgement. He wants proof that his existence matters, that he belongs. And over time, that external desire slowly transforms into something healthier. He no longer seeks acknowledgement to fill emptiness. He seeks it because he genuinely wants to protect others. That's growth. His identity evolves from "look at me" to "let me help others." And that's an important stage in emotional maturity. At first, wounded people often seek validation because they need healing. But eventually, growth happens when you stop living only for approval and start living through purpose. Naruto becomes powerful not because he escapes loneliness, but because he learns from it. His pain increases his emotional intelligence. His isolation deepens his compassion. His rejection strengthens his resilience. And that's the deeper message. Your wounds can either become walls or bridges. They can isolate you from humanity, or help you understand humanity more deeply. Naruto chose the second path, and that decision changed his entire destiny. So when you look at Naruto, don't just see an underdog story. See a psychological blueprint. A reminder that loneliness does not have to become destruction. It can become discipline, empathy, purpose, resilience, fuel. But only if you decide that your pain will sharpen your heart instead of hardening it. Because in the end, the people who suffer the most are often standing at a crossroads. One path leads toward hatred, the other leads toward growth. And Naruto Uzumaki proves that even the loneliest person in the room can still become the light that changes everyone around them.